the instructions properly. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go all the way around. Right, there is no way this thing is going on. So do you know what? I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to attempt. I say attempt because I'm useless at these things. But we're going to attempt to make this felt make your own Santa Christmas decoration for a tree, whilst also at the same time talking about what options you have after you finish studying AAT. So I actually put into the Facebook group a listing about these 12 days of Christmas, and I asked you what you wanted to see on the channel, and one of the comments was that you wanted to see exactly what options were open to you after finishing the AAT. So let's get started. This is already a little bit intimidating. Okay, so, oh no, there's more. So here are the instructions for the Make Your Own Santa felt kit. So for anybody who has children at home or grandchildren and they're looking for a little side project to do as part of the lead up to Christmas, then depending on how this goes, I'll either recommend this or not. So let's move. So for those of you that don't know, I actually went on to study ACCA after I finished my AAT, and let's get rid of the noisy packaging first. So that for me was a natural progression, because the way that the company that I worked for did the training contracts was that you either finished with AAT or you then went on to do either ACCA or ACA, and at the time they were actually introducing what we call CFAB, which is something that you can do just before you study the ACA. Now, for those of you that want to go into financial reporting, so reporting on figures at year end, at month end, dealing with auditors, dealing with tax computations, basically anything financial on the reporting side, then the ACA and ACCA might be a better option for you than, say, the likes of CIMA. Now, the differences between CIMA, ACCA and ACA is that CIMA actually covers mostly management accounting, so it stands for the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. So if you're somebody who wants to go into more of commercial reporting, so where you're looking at the likes of the day-to-day running of a business, or you're looking at cash flows and just basically the month-to-month reporting of a business, so preparing management accounts, etc., then again CIMA might be a little bit more relevant to that job. Now, you obviously don't have to go on to study further, you can become AAT qualified and leave it there, which is fine, but you can just study the AAT and not take your qualifications any further, and that's absolutely fine. There are many people who do that. So it's whether or not you want to take those additional exams to further your knowledge on the likes of IFRS, the likes of IAS, the likes of financial consulting, etc. So it really just depends on what you want to do with your career in future. Now, one of the plans that I have for the channel in January is to hopefully get a few individuals from different areas of business who've qualified as AAT and either not taken the qualifications further, or who've gone on to do the likes of, again, ACA, ICAS, which is the Institute of Chartered Accountants Scotland, so become CA qualified, or if they've switched discipline altogether, or maybe if they've then decided to take the tax route, etc. So I'm hoping to get a few individuals on the channel to talk through their experiences and give you a little bit more depth and background behind what you can do in the future. Now, I'm just going to have a little read of these instructions here so we can make a start on this. Oh, to do a knot, just do this, like that. Wrap it around your finger and pull it through. And pull that up like that. So you're going to be doing a loop like this, so you put it through like this. We used to do sewing in primary school, and I think that's pretty much the last time that I've done anything like this on the sewing front. I don't think that's going to go all the way around. So I think I'm going to have to pull this through again and make it smaller. So just use one bit of this. So lesson learned. Don't do what I'm doing here. Finally free. Okay, so what we actually want then is a knot on this end. Right. Attempt 2. Ah! Doesn't help that I don't actually have my glasses on, so I can barely see that. Okay. This is so fiddly. With just enough material. Yes. No. I didn't read the instructions properly. So it actually said, leave a small gap for stuffing. I think I can undo that knot. So we won't do this up until we've actually finished. So that would be a smart thing to do. Maybe I should entitle this video what not to do when you're trying one of these things out. Okay. RTFQ, never been more appropriate. Maybe you can see me a bit better now. Okay, so we're as far as opening this back up here. So we've now got a nice little gap for this to go into. So, step 2 is fill with the stuffing. Put that down there. Okay, so that's all of that stuff in there, so you can see. There we go. Right, so let's fill this back up. So let's put this back in. Okay, now just going back to some of the things that you can do after your AAT, or even if you've not studied AAT or ATT, or even any of the other professional qualifications. You might be somebody who's watching who went to university. So there's a range of other things that you can do apart from, let's say, the CIMA, ICAS, etc. So you could actually land a role straight after university, in the likes of, in a retail bank for example. You could go into the likes of tax advisory, so advising clients on tax. You might even be able to get a further almost apprenticeship to learn the skills on the job there straight after university. The other things that you can go into could include the likes of management consulting, or even mortgage advisory is another good opportunity as well, where you can use the skills that you've learned at university. Alternatively, you could become a data analyst, so where you analyse large volumes of data, interpret that data for a company. A business development manager, or even an actuary for example. So there's so many things that you can do with a degree in accounting or finance. So it's just really, again, what you think you would like to do, but really there's no stopping you from doing anything accounting or finance related after you've undertaken a degree, or after you've undertaken AAT or ATT for example. Now, if you are currently looking for a job role and you haven't yet found anything, or you're wondering where exactly to look for a job opportunity, then the main type of employers for those jobs that I've mentioned just there are the likes of accountancy practices, commercial banks, so the banks that you see on the main street in towns and cities for example, insurance companies, investment banks. So a lot of the time if you go onto these individual banks' career pages, and the same with the likes of PwC, BDO, KPMG, Deloitte, etc. If you go straight onto their careers page, then it will list there if there are any job opportunities available. So that's just somewhere to look if you haven't already. Okay, so we've completed step 3, which was to sew up the hole. I have to say, my stitching is not the neatest. Okay, so next we've been told to stick on the face. Okay, so you actually need glue for this, which I didn't realise either, so I wonder if I can find some glue to stick his face on. So this could get dangerous any second, because I managed to find the glue. So I borrowed this from downstairs. So once this warms up, I will stick on the face. At least it'll stick on as well. So just wait for this to heat up a little bit. So if you've never seen one of those before, what you do is you put the glue in on this end, and then this obviously warms up, and then you can just apply the glue. So I'll just put that. So whilst that's heating up, let's talk about the other options and things that you can do with AAT. ATT, which we don't speak about a lot on this channel, or haven't yet, which is the Association of Tax Technicians. So if you've done that instead of the AAT, then you can put this information into practice and obviously apply that to roles in tax if that's what you want to do, or even you can change discipline into more of a broader accounting role. Now, one of the questions that I get asked on this channel sometimes is from individuals who are not university graduates, so they can't apply for a graduate programme with one of the top 4. However, the top 4 companies do sometimes offer the likes of an AAT apprenticeship, so it's definitely worth having a look again on their career page and just seeing what there is available. So they do offer those apprenticeship programmes in some cases. Now, it's interesting because even though working in accounting and finance, you could be working in practice, or you could, like I say, be working for a firm in industry. It's interesting that you can actually go into many different industries. So you could actually end up in healthcare, or you could end up in the likes of a marketing company working in their finance function, or even a telecommunications company, or in engineering and maintenance, or a construction and engineering company. So basically, the world is pretty much your oyster. It just really depends on where you want to end up, what you want to do, what's your passion, because you might have a passion for accounting and finance, but also equally the likes of engineering in your spare time, for example. So I think that's one of the great things about undertaking an accounting qualification, that you can use that knowledge across different industries. Just trying to make sure that his face is, well, face planted, to be honest. There we go. So I'm just going to hold that there for a second. You can see this glue is very, very stringy and sticky. So let's move on to number 5. So stick on the white brim of the hat and the white beard onto the face. Okay, I can do that. So if you are using one of these at home, then obviously take the proper precautions. Make sure you're supervising a child. If you're using something like this in particular. Okay, so that's the brim, and then we've got this very, very, very jolly, nice beard to go on. So let's pop that on here. Now what I'll say is, if anybody has any questions that I haven't answered in any previous videos, or you've just got a question that's come to mind now about a specific career path or a route that you want to take, and you just want to run it by somebody else, or you want to lean on the experience that I've gained in the past, then by all means pop a question in the comment section below, because I always do my best to answer everybody who leaves a comment, and if I don't get to you within 24 hours, then it'll be shortly after that for sure. And also, if you've got a question to ask, there might be somebody out there who's thinking exactly the same thing, who is looking for an answer to that question, or is not quite confident enough to ask that question for themselves. So definitely fire away in the comment section below. I'll just show you where we're up to with Santa. I've got a bit of excess glue going on there, and at this point around my fingers as well. So I used to be good at arts and craft. This clearly isn't going to plan. Right, move that out of the way. So next, stick on the moustache. So how cute is that? Sheer concentration on my face right now must be quite funny to look at. This glue everywhere. Has anybody ever seen that episode of Big Bang Theory when they're doing some arts and craft and Penny has it everywhere? That's pretty much what's going on right now. All the glue everywhere. Gotta just keep finding strings of it. Okay, so this is where we're at now. So next, stick the nose and eyes onto the face. Okay, so the little nose, so we can do that. If it wasn't for my absolutely beyond awful stitch in here, this wouldn't look so bad. But we can only work with what we've got. Santa only has one eye. Oh dearie, dearie me. Oh no, it doesn't. They're stuck together. Ah, what a relief. Can't have a one-eyed Santa. What I'll do as part of this video as well is just pop a link to the how to get into accountancy playlist in a card above or in the description section below, just so that you can refer back to previous videos that might be helpful on this topic as well. So next, okay, Santa's starting to come together now. Stick on the black belt and light green holly piece into the hat. Okay. It's very fiddly. Oh no, I've got it on myself. definitely starting to come together as this little guy. Okay, next stick on the belt buckle and then the dark green holly leaves. Okay. Woo. There we go. So next step, stick on, we've done that bit. Thread the ribbon through. So let's do his shoes so it doesn't look so terrible and you can't see the stitching anymore. I'm sure your sand pieces are going to look a lot better than this, but if I can get this far, sure you can as well. Okay, so next thing, so thread the bead through the ribbon, okay, and tie the ends up ready to hang. Okay, so you get given this piece of ribbon here, and you also get a tiny needle and a little, of course it's not going to go on first time, is it? No, I can't. Right, I'm just going to use this. Okay. So that end there. Okay, just going to go ahead and turn the glue gun off. Now, what I'll say as well is this is going to take me forever because have you seen the size of that thing? You can't even see it on screen. Nope. It is beyond tiny. That is never going to go on there. I'm going to have to find a way. Yeah, it's just, if you work in industry at the moment, then it's always worth talking to those around you to see, you know, how they got where they are today, if that's what you want to do. And also just having general conversations, because I find in accounting and finance just in general, people who are in senior positions are more than happy to help. Answer any questions that you might have about your career, etc. And a lot of the time, if you work in one of these larger companies, they'll actually give you a mentor who is there to look after you and answer any questions that you've got about the field, about accounting in general and your future prospects, etc. So it's not going swimmingly. I wonder. So it's always worth asking if there isn't a mentor system in place at your work. It's always worth speaking to HR and seeing if it's something that they can implement, just so you can ask those individuals who are senior in finance those questions. Or alternatively, again, you can always ask me and I'll do my best to answer you where I possibly can. And if I don't know the answer, then I usually know somebody who knows the answer. So right, there is no way this thing is going on. So do you know what? I'm going to leave it there. Instead, what I'm going to pop it onto his hat, because I can't do that. There we go. So just going to make a little ringlet with this now. There we go. Okay, so apart from the excess glue that you can see there, I'll try and clean it up a bit. There you have it. a cute little hanging Santa that cost a huge bank breaking total of £1.75. So what, that took me a good 20 minutes, so should keep the kids occupied for 20 minutes or so, if you're looking for something to do with them. And you can find this in the link below at Amazon, or you can also find it at the likes of Pound Stretcher and Poundland. So I'm going to pop him onto the tree now. Latest edition, just here. And I think I'm just going to chop off that end bit there, just to tidy him up a bit. But yeah, so I shall end it there. So if you liked today's video, then give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're looking at studying accounting and finance, or if you're already studying and you've got questions, etc. Thank you for watching this to the end. Watch out for tomorrow's video on the 12 Days of Accounting Christmas playlist, which ends on the 12th of December. And otherwise I shall see you on the next video.